This is a video evidence of my college work. We're doing a simulation of the game as I don't have a VR headset. Basically, you got this the tower that they would destroy, and yeah, basically you got these weapons over here that would you would basically kill these before it got to the tower. The tower does defend itself, and after 4 waves, the enemies become significantly stronger, and they will reach the tower and destroy it. So you've got basically got 4 free waves to check, uh, test everything out, sort of tutorial type thing. And you've also got the amount of enemies that it's destroyed right there. Yeah, and that's this basically the gameplay loop. So yeah. Yeah, I made this texture for the rifle. If I go onto it and browse to the asset and go onto it, shows up like this. But as it's a material instance, I go to the material instance, the original material. I set up all of this. So this is the mask map for the what color goes where. And then I added these different colors to it so that it would show up on the normal map as this. And the one that that screen there is basically this color here. Yeah, it looks a little different there from what it was on the thing, because on the material instance, I think I changed it slightly. So if you look there, I could reset it to its default, but because obviously that's how bright it was, it's quite bright. So yeah, that's the weapon of the. So my plan was to have multiple enemies, but timing and stuff. So I go into the character enemy parent. This basically just tells the update health file, which just shows what's above the head. Basically the equal current health equals 0, then it will basically say that it's dead and destroy the actor. Event if I go into the event graph, event begin play, get all actors BP targets, set them as the end the array, loop through the thing, and once it gets to the last one, well, if it's still got a valid index above what it currently is at, then it will go to the next one, and if it's false, it will print done. But obviously, I need to get rid of that. Event tick, self. Basically, it's self, its character movement, its velocity, vector length XY, and it sets character speed. Oh yeah, and event any damage, current health, minus minus what the damage is, set that current health variable, and then update health bar, which does all of which does all of this. Which back to the event tick one, that is what does the where is it? The animation here, like this. So yeah, and then we'll go into the basic enemy, open full blueprint thing. There isn't actually anything that I've done in here, but I was originally planning on having that done, but I didn't have time. Either or, yeah. This is the enemy spawner, which this is basically just the platform which they spawn on. Construction script has nothing. We're going to event graph. We set the waves. Which if I actually just close these quick, so I don't get myself confused. So it sets the waves, which does waves, which is default of 1 times 10, clamp from minimum of 10, maximum of max waves, which max waves is 10, which basically 10 times 10 is 100, so the max is 100. Set the max enemy count to whatever this value is, then the return mode. Then this, which I thought I got rid of, but I guess I didn't. No, then it spawns wave 1 to 4. In wave 1 to 4, check enemy count before spawning, which is a macro. I just straighten that. Basically, it checks the enemy count. If it equals the max enemy count, then it will just output on the max pin. If it's false, it'll do enemy count +1 to set the enemy count. Then obviously the not max pin. Then if it's the max pin, it will no. If we do the not max pin first, because this might make more sense this way, it will spawn an actor of character basic enemy. Get the world's position of the platform, which is this. Put the X, Y the same, but the Z value needs to add 10 so it's not clipped into the ground. A delay of 1 second, and then it will call that again. And then obviously if it's maxed, it checks the enemy count after spawn complete, which basically just goes if in every 0.2 seconds it will check anything with the tag of enemy. If there is stuff in there, then it will output true of a delay. If it's a false, it outputs a false. And then if it's obviously false, so in other words, if everything in here if it's now empty, it then updates the wave, which then just adds 1 to the wave, max value of waves sort of thing, sets the waves, then just outputs it. Which, yeah. So yeah, that just does what wave it's on. Close these two again. Enemy count sets back down to 0. If the waves is currently less than or equal to 4, you output a true, which just basically then again spawns the waves. And if not, it'll do 5 to 8, which again checks enemy count. We already went through that. Get the world position of the platform again, we've been through that. And the target of these, the max health, gets updated to whatever the max health is times waves, and then that'll be set to max health. Basically, yeah, and then delay of 5 to 8. Sorry, delay of 1, and then a spawn 5 to 8, which basically just looped around to that again. Then obviously after spawn complete, we've already been through this as well. And obviously again, we've been through update wave, that needs to go, because that was just to show that it was progressing waves. Yeah. That's that. Yeah. So yeah, that is the spawning thing, right? Brain? Yeah, it's a spawning thing done. Right. Right. So this is the tower and the scoreboard, as you can see from the 2 tabs at the top. So event tick, it makes sure whether valid is true, which it defaults to false. And then it also sets targets. So sets targets, any overlapping actor, which is a class filter of the enemy parent, basically anything that's an enemy. Well, it defaults to no targets like this, so nothing in the array, and then it will set those overlapping targets to this. It checks whether it's a valid index, and then it finds the nearest actor. Sorry about the drill in the background, don't know who's doing that. Yeah, so second. Right, I just closed my window, so it should hopefully not be as loud. Basically, where was I? It basically in here it'll set that to valid if there's a valid index, which then we'll go back through this. set the relative location of the shoot arm, which is the thing that allows this to rotate. So yeah, set relative rotation of that. The start is get actor location of the target, and then the end, the target is get this thing's location, and it would put that as a rotation. And I've ticked teleport because it's too slow. It checks whether it can fire. If so, it sets it to false and fires a hit scan. Now, under fire hit scan, it checks whether the thing's still valid. And then I was going to put sound off this, but I didn't have time, or I didn't find any sounds that I liked either at that time. And basically it goes line trace start. The start is get the world location of shoot arrow, and the end is basically just the shoot arrow get forward vector, target decision, distance to vector, add 10 to make sure it actually hits, because the time delay of it moving from that position. Get the weapon range as a value. And then the minimum 0 maximum is this. So the forward vector times that, plus the location and all that to get to the end. And then what to ignore is the player character, and ignore self. It breaks break the hit result, and then the hit actor applies damage to it. Of this one's 120, just to make this was just for demonstration purposes, so I made it 120. Check the fire rate. Well, the fire rate is 1 delay before it can then set can fire to true again. The print string, the get display name, this was just to say that okay, it has actually hit the character, so I can actually do that, that, and that. It checks whether the actor is still valid. Basically, it's going, if it gets destroyed, it's no longer valid. Then it will cast scored, which scored just goes cast to BP score, which is this thing up here, which I'll show you in a minute. Then it'll update that score. I mean, I never used the get owner, but it's a child actor. The BP score is the child actor, so this is this child actor, which casts BP score and does score updates. So now we're on BP score, which will literally just say set present scores, current number +1. Then it'll update scores, score user widget, cast to the UI enemy scores. As that, present scores will be updated to what present scores is. So yeah, that's the scoring system and the tower. Here's the auto landscape, which basically just when I change the landscape, it automatically applies the materials. All these texture coordinates multiplied by the tiling. They go into colors, the normals, and the roughnesses, and it has a landscape layer blend, which goes through all of this from here, which linear interpolates between these world line blend, blend sharpness, blend bias, and goes into their appropriate places on these. So yeah, if I were to save that, I mean I didn't need to save it, but the point is I'm gonna save it. And under layers, just got the layer infos. So for example, if I go into the material instance, bring this down here a sec. If you just watch here, I'm gonna actually copy that so I can get it back to where it was. And I lower that, it changes the entire thing. Raise it up again, and it will do it appropriately. But I found that this present one as comfortable as I wanted it. So yeah, that's the material of the landscape. This is the enemy's animation sequence. Basically, it on the update of the animation casts that as a variable. It gets the character speed from the variable and sets it, and basically that speed will change how fast this is moving. The output pose is obviously how fast it's moving, and it's the same with the head because they're two separate objects. So if I were to go on here, go on here, and just up it, you can see how it's now moving as it should. Undo that, and I can do the same with this one. I'll just type it in manually because it's faster. And there you go. You can see how that is now working. And yeah, I was going to put in a sword, but I'm like, I didn't have time and stuff, but basically I had made this sword model and stuff, and it would have looked, I say it looks decent. But yeah, that's everything. So thank you for watching.